What's up guys, it's Forza Memories. In today's video, I'm going to go over my picks for the top 10 most iconic cover cars from racing games. These top 10 cover cars are considered legendary in both the racing game and car world, whether it's their performance, design, or presence in the game they're on the cover of. Each of the top 10 cover cars in this list have unique reasons why they're among the top 10 most iconic cover cars of all time. Let me know in the comments if I left out any iconic cover cars that deserve to be in the top 10 list. With that being said, let's start off with number 10. At number 10, we have the Pagani Zonda Cinque. The Pagani Zonda Cinque is featured on the cover of Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. The Cinque was and still is one of the most iconic Need for Speed cars. The Cinque is a stunning car that was amazing in Hot Pursuit. Before I explain what makes the Pagani Zonda Cinque iconic, here's a brief introduction of the Pagani Zonda Cinque. Developed by Pagani, the Zonda Cinque is part of the legendary Zonda line. Developed and released in 2009, the Cinque took the hypercar world by storm, featuring a 7.3-liter naturally aspirated V12 that was developed and tuned by Mercedes-Benz to output a monstrous 678 horsepower and 575 pound-feet of torque. Only 10 Zonda Cinques were ever made, so this is the ultimate collector's item because of how rare it is. The Zonda Cinque initially costed $1.8 million in 2010, but in 2024, you're lucky enough to get one for less than $3 million. The Pagani Zonda Cinque is an icon in the Need for Speed community thanks to its ridiculous performance and beautiful design in Hot Pursuit. To obtain the Zonda Cinque, you need a racer bounty of 672,500 points. And once you reach that threshold, you got one of the best all-around supercars in the game. The Zonda Cinque had the best handling, fast acceleration, and a high top speed of over 220 miles per hour in Hot Pursuit. But the main reason why it's an icon is its sound. The Zonda Cinque is without a doubt the best sounding car in racing game history. At number 9, we have the McLaren Senna. The Senna is the successor of the legendary P1 in terms of showcasing McLaren performance. The Senna is featured on the cover of Forza Horizon 4, and its design, performance, and importance to Horizon 4 makes it one of the most iconic cars in the Forza Horizon franchise. Before I go in depth on what makes the Senna an iconic cover car, here's a brief introduction of the McLaren Senna. Developed by McLaren, the Senna was named after legendary F1 driver Ayrton Senna. Being named after arguably the greatest F1 driver ever, the McLaren Senna had to provide nothing short of legendary performance, featuring a 4-liter twin-turbo V8 that outputs 789 horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque. The Senna's track-focused aerodynamics and suspension helped it break the lap record, the Hockenheim, with a time of 1 minute and 41 seconds, beating supercars like the Huracan Evo and the Porsche 918 Spider. So what makes the McLaren Senna an icon in the Forza community? Well, it happens to be the car featured on arguably the best title screen and introduction of a racing game I've ever seen. Aside from the iconic intro, the Senna is just a beautiful car that was without a doubt the best handling and overall just the best S2 class car for racing in Horizon 4. That's all I have for the Senna. Let's move on to number 8. At number 8, we have the Saleen S302 Extreme. The S302 Extreme is featured on the cover of Midnight Club LA. Midnight Club LA was all about music, tuning, fast cars, and enjoyment. That's what the S302 Extreme was also all about. Once I go over the specs of the Saleen S302 Extreme, then it will all make sense. Developed by the American motorsport icon Saleen, the 2008 Saleen S302 Extreme is one of the craziest muscle cars ever made. Saleen tuned and upgraded the regular Ford Mustang into the monstrous S302 Extreme. Inside the S302 Extreme lies a 5-liter supercharged V8 that outputted a monstrous 620 horsepower and 600 pound-feet of torque and had a 0 to 60 of 3.5 seconds, which is just as quick as the 2008 Lamborghini Murcielago. Only 25 were made, and if you want to get your hands on one in 2008, it would have cost you $84,000. Good luck getting one for less than $100,000 now in 2024. The dub edition of the Saleen S302 Extreme is actually the variant that's featured in the cover of Midnight Club LA. The dub edition is not available to unlock or buy, and is only seen in one Carol delivery mission, but you can actually create the dub edition by customizing the regular S302 Extreme into the dub edition. There's a video in the description that shows you how to make the dub edition in Midnight Club LA if you're interested. At number 7, we have the Subaru Impreza WRC. The Subaru Impreza WRC is featured on the cover of Colin McRae Rally 2005. Driven by the legendary Colin McRae, the Impreza WRC is one of the most successful rally cars in the World Rally Championship, and arguably the most iconic rally car of all time. For these reasons, I have to give this legend a proper introduction. Beneath its iconic blue and green livery, the Impreza WRC housed a 2-liter turbocharged flat-4 boxer engine that outputted 300 horsepower and 347 pound-feet of torque. This was the perfect car to pair with the legendary Colin McRae, and it proved a successful duo, winning 3 consecutive Constructors' Championships. The Impreza WRC ended its legendary run with a total of 46 wins and 122 podiums. The blue and gold livery, plus being one of the most successful rally cars of all time, and on top of that, being driven by legendary drivers like Colin McRae and Richard Burns, it's kind of hard not to be put on a list of the most iconic cover cars of all time. At number 6, we have the Aston Martin 177. The 177 is a cover car of Test Drive Unlimited 2. The 177 is one of the best looking cars ever made. Its performance and rarity in both Test Drive Unlimited 2 and in real life make it not only one of the most iconic cover cars of all time, but one of the most iconic cars of all time. Before I go deep into explaining why it's an icon in the racing game world, here's an introduction of the Aston Martin 177. Developed by Aston Martin, the 177 was elegant, but at the same time was a monster. Under the hood of the 177 was a 7.3-liter naturally aspirated V12 that outputted a staggering 750 horsepower and 553 pound-feet of torque. Released in 2011, the 177 had a top speed of 220 miles per hour, which ranked as the 6th fastest production car in the world. Only 77 of these cars were made, and to buy one, you were looking at spending around $1.8 million. If you were to buy one in 2024, good luck getting it any cheaper than $4 million. The 177 was one of the best A1 class cars to cruise and race in. Its timeless design that is a mix of old and new styling is just stunning. A truly remarkable car that really showcases every aspect of Aston Martin engineering and deserves its place at number 6. At number 5, we have the Nissan 350Z. The Nissan 350Z is the cover car of Need for Speed Underground 2. The 350Z that you see in the cover actually belongs to a character named Rachel in Need for Speed Underground 2. Rachel was a mentor to the player, and she gives you missions, races, and tips throughout the game. With that being said, here's an introduction of the Nissan 350Z. The 350Z was introduced in 2002 and really gained popularity quickly because of its performance at an affordable price. The 350Z came packed with a 3.5-liter naturally aspirated V6, and it outputted 300 horsepower and 270 pound-feet of torque. The JDM and Racer community absolutely love the Z generations because of their affordability and the amount of mods available for it. And of course, Fast and Furious helped its popularity immensely through the Tokyo Drift film, where Drift King races and drifts a modded 350Z. To get the cover car 350Z in Underground 2, you have to first win event number 75 called Bring It in the Underground mode. Then you have to customize the stock 350Z into the cover car by adding cosmetics and upgrades. 350Z shows that not every car has to have over 500 horsepower or be a hypercar, become an icon in the automotive and racing game world. The 350Z is the first car you see and drive in Underground 2, which is a massive factor in its popularity. It's just a very impressive and versatile sports car, especially since they're now going for under $10,000 in 2024. So that's all for the 350Z. Let's move on to number 4. At number 4, we have the 2002 Ferrari Enzo. The Ferrari Enzo appears on the cover of Project Gotham Racing 2. The Enzo really was a cutting-edge and innovative hypercar in the early 2000s. The Enzo is a truly stunning car that deserves a proper introduction. Developed by the F1 icon Ferrari, the Enzo, named after the founder, Enzo Ferrari, was a cutting-edge hypercar that resembled that of an F1 car, especially with its lightning-fast sequential transmission and carbon fiber body. At the heart of the Ferrari Enzo lies a 6-liter naturally aspirated V12 that is capable of producing 651 horsepower, which gives the Enzo a 0 to 60 of just 3.14 seconds. a stunning car that was limited to only 400 ever created, and with a price tag of $560,000 in 2002, which if you're lucky in 2024, you can get one for $3 million. Project Gotham Racing was a fantastic series that's unfortunately been dead for a very long time now, because bizarre creations no longer exist. The Enzo really was the best car to be the cover car of PGR2. The Enzo was everything you needed and wanted in a hypercar. Very fast, timeless design, and innovative technology. Plus being the cover car to a really good racing game certainly helps. These are the main factors as to why the Enzo has become such an icon in the racing game world. At number 3, we have the 2012 Dodge Viper GTS. The Dodge Viper GTS appears on the cover of the first Forza Horizon. In its iconic yellow with black striped livery, the Viper is one of the most recognized and iconic cars in automotive history. The last Viper Pennzoil commercial is one of the most hyped send-off to a car I've ever seen. The Viper is my personal favorite cover car, and before I explain why, here's an introduction. Created by Dodge, the Viper has been around since the 1990s and was Dodge's halo car up until 2017, where it ended its production run. The Viper really put Dodge on the map in the motorsport world, being one of the most successful cars in motorsport, with 163 wins and 3 class wins in the 24 hours of Le Mans. Under the hood of the Viper was the 8.4-liter naturally aspirated V10 that outputted 640 horsepower and 600 pound-feet of torque. The Viper was a high-risk, high-reward car, especially since its track focus with its rear-wheel drive layout and manual transmission. With the first Horizon being regarded as the best in the series, the Viper being the cover car is just perfect. The Viper was pushed hard in Horizon 1, with it being the first car you drive and having specific race events tailored to just Dodge Vipers. Also, the Viper's presence, while Scott Tyler gives an intro of Forza Horizon at the start of the game, just automatically makes the Viper an iconic cover car to an absolutely iconic racing game. At number 2, we have the 2004 Ford GT. The 2004 Ford GT appeared in the cover car of Gran Turismo 4, and the base variant shown on the cover does not actually appear in Gran Turismo 4. The only variant of the 2004 Ford GT that's in Gran Turismo 4 is called the Ford GT LM Race Car Spec 2, which actually doesn't exist in real life. It was created by the developers of Gran Turismo. But for the video, I'll be talking about both the base and race variant of the 2004 Ford GT. Unveiled at the 2002 North America International Auto Show, the Ford GT is the successor to the legendary GT40. And as many of you know, the GT40 won 3 consecutive championships at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, so the Ford GT had big shoes to fill. At the heart of the Ford GT was a 5.4-liter supercharged V8 that was capable of producing 550 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque. There was a GT3 racing variant of the second generation Ford GT that competed in the FIA GT3 Championship Series and unfortunately did not win. In addition, there was a pretty cool aftermarket of the GT available for $38,000 called the GTX1, which was a roofless and upgraded version of the base Ford GT. The GTX1 was upgraded to 700 horsepower and came with race seats and a customized interior. As I said earlier, the base variant of the 2004 Ford GT only appears in the cover of GT4 and not actually in game. However, the fictional racing variant does appear in game. The Ford GT LM race car is what makes the Ford GT an iconic racing game cover car. The intro of Gran Turismo 4 really helped make the Ford GT iconic by showcasing the Ford GT LM Spec. The Ford GT LM race car is featured in the intro of Gran Turismo 4 and really helped make the Ford GT iconic. In addition, the GT LM is just an awesome and powerful race car that really showed the creativity and passion of the developers at Gran Turismo. At number 1, we have the BMW M3 GTR. The M3 GTR GT appears on the cover of Need for Speed Most Wanted 2005 and is without a doubt the most iconic racing game cover car of all time. Without the livery upgrades, the Most Wanted BMW is a BMW E46 M3 GTR. This iconic car started off as a racing project for BMW Motorsport team. It has now become an icon in both the racing game and motorsport community. Before I explain what truly makes the Most Wanted BMW M3 GTR legendary, here's a brief introduction of the BMW M3 GTR GT. The BMW E46 M3 GTR is a more track-focused variant of the E46 M3, featuring wider fenders, larger air intakes, a rear wing, and an upgraded racing front bumper. Under the hood of the E46 M3 GTR lies a tuned 4-liter naturally aspirated V8 that generated upwards of 450 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque. The M3 GTR was capable of going 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds. The M3 GTR's lightweight construction, race-tuned suspension, and aerodynamic enhancements made it a powerful track car that even had a class win at the 24 Hours of Spa. The BMW M3 GTR is the most iconic cover car of all time because it was not only the cover car of arguably the greatest racing game of all time, but that it was the soul and driving force of Need for Speed Most Wanted in 2005. You start off the game driving and racing in the M3 GTR against Razor, who ends up stealing it from you. And the whole point of the story mode is to take down bosses from the blacklist, become the most wanted racer in Rockport, so you can get to Razor and challenge him for your BMW M3 GTR back. There you have it. That's my list for the top 10 most iconic cover cars from racing games. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.